Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. If we've been together from the beginning, I introduced very briefly and also got his perspective. That is Dr. No, sorry. I don't know why I wanted to make Jesu Chega Onokpasa Mr. A doctor, but he's a lawyer and a writer. That is a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Again, thank you very much for coming on. As you know, on the political scene, well, the Court of Appeal has pronounced that Tinubu is properly elected. The appeals of the petitioners has failed and failed very, very, very clearly, according to the justices of the Court of Appeal. But they have, those people, as is their right, have indicated that they would like to escalate the matter to the Supreme Court. So, Mr. Nokwasa, that doesn't surprise very many people, does it? It's like the option is there, and it would have been nice if people had said, look, this is a very bad case, as has been pronounced by their lordships, but they are going. I'm sure you're not surprised yourself, or were you?
Surprised about what exactly? Their intent to go on appeal, or
that they intend to take it to the Supreme Court?
Well, I'm not surprised, because it cannot be more surprising than the fact that they brought these frivolous petitions in the first place to waste the time of the Court of Appeal and waste the time of Nigerians. So,
well, they were exercising their rights. As you know, they were exercising their rights. Even APC would be the first to say that you do have that right.
Yes, but it is not your right. It is nobody's right. Now, well, you might as well say it is someone's right to make a fool of themselves. Well, that is true legally, but I don't think that is a good idea, because what transpired.
When you say that, when you say that, I beg your pardon for interrupting you. When you say that, well, you're a lawyer yourself, and you know how to modulate your language for it to be elegant or whatever. But I imagine that what you're saying is probably it reflects your view of or your impression of the quality of the case that they brought, as indeed some of those justices had said, right?
It's not my view. That was the opinion of their lordships, the justices of the Court of Appeal. I don't know how much of the judgment you were able to follow in real time, because it was such a long judgment. I think 10, 11 hours. At a point, it's really very difficult to focus on something that long. But the key takeaway from the judgment is that their lordships excoriated learned counsel to the petitioners. That is what happened, Yori. That is what happened when that judgment was delivered. In fact, the court was basically saying the petitions effectively amounted to an abuse of court process, because the petitioners did not even bother. They did not even bother to try to prove their case. And I think that was the reason why, from the get-go, there was another agenda to the what I would say the entire shenanigans of pretending to be trying to reclaim a mandate that never existed in the first place, And so there was this rather elaborate attempt to basically overhaul the judiciary, intimidate the judiciary, to the point of people blatantly committing clear felonies, threatening judges, threatening their families, insulting them. And in fact, if anything, their lordships were were rather lenient, you know, with their commentary on the attitude of learned counsel, you know, because from my own perspective as a lawyer, with respect, it was a complete waste of if the petitioners themselves, if Alhaji Atiku and Mr. Peter Obi, if I was of the opinion that their hands were clean, in the sense that they were not in on this shenanigans from the beginning, I would actually advise them to sue their lawyers, because the petitions were just too incompetently prosecuted. But I think I cannot think that a former vice president, a former governor like Atiku and Obi respectively, would not know that they had no case from the onset. I think from Obi's perspective, he must have felt he didn't have a choice. What does he do with his obedience? What has effectively decomposed into a personality cult around him? What do you do with such people when you so clearly lost an election that he couldn't have won from the onset? You know, with Alhaji Atiku, he has always been, I would say, fanatical about becoming president of Nigeria. So I think he was just trying his luck. But to go, if you say you want to go to the Supreme Court, by all means, please be our guest. Be our guest. But the outcome, because in fact, the Court of Appeal was relying on precedents already established by the Supreme Court. So
you're not going back to that?
Let lawyers make more money.
This was the advice. As you were saying, well, this is the advice. This is the legal advice that you got. And you know that lawyers pontificated, very senior lawyers pontificated on matters that were torn to shreds by their lordships. But in the meantime, Mr. Yakub has called in. Good morning to you, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah, it is very good morning, sir. I don't know maybe you are hearing, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you. Yes.
Thank you very much. This is a welcome development in our jury, because the judgment that we listened to, I think 3 days ago, is a welcome development in our politics. But quickly, the one of the judges that I love so much, I don't know her name, the woman among the men there.
Oh, okay. That was yeah. The only female judge.
Yes, the female. The judgment that she gave was so detailed, to the extent that I came to realize that even the judge listens to they are even on the social media, look, don't see that the people were saying there, attacking them. He made mention it. Another thing that I love so much is the one that went around the state, beginning to mention.
Yeah, I think that was Justice Montserrat.
The opposition was claiming that the INEC read the letter for the winners. He mentioned it one by one.
Yes.
Let me say the security. Your guest there sitting down the other side. I watched yesterday one of the sister videos, which I wouldn't like to mention that very particular channel. Security, do you know your guest, this one that's sitting down there? Somebody in the other side was accusing and embarrassing our judge. And then this man...
And he wasn't having it. I know what you're talking about. That was his outing on Arise News yesterday, Arise TV yesterday. He wasn't having it.
This party was trying to stop this man.
Yeah.
This man was telling him that you cannot stop me when somebody sitting down with you and embarrassing our judge. They're not trying to stop me. For what?
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you, Joey.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nokbasa, your outing has been referred to again, and the defense that you had made there that, look, as an officer in the temple of the law, or how do you people phrase it, you're not going to sit here and watch people malign their lordships, right? That is what he was referring to.
It was... Go on.
Yeah, that's it. that he brought it back today to say, and I remember that part of what you were saying, in fact, the main thing of what you were saying was that, nothing was going to be taken back. You had spoken, and as a lawyer, you were not going to sit down here and listen to your learned brothers, whatever, malign, the courts and their lordships. So,
yeah, what a trend that that has become, let me say, fashionable among certain people in the country today is if something doesn't go your way, well, it is bad. If it goes your way, it is good. And the funny thing is that is what we call, what they engage in is what we call it, what we say in law, you appropriate with one hand and you reprobate with the other. So the same thing can be good, and the exact same thing can be good and bad to them, depending on whether or not it benefits them. The judgment in the decision between, in the case between Demola Adeleke and Gboyega Oyetola went their way. And but the decision between Bola Tinubu and Peter Obi didn't go their way. Between Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar didn't go their way. And all these cases are on all fours together. So here you have a very senior lawyer, for that matter, coming to court, and frankly, because this whole season has become so toxic, there is something, There is something, Mr. Folari, there's something, unfortunately, that this election cycle has introduced into our body politic. And it is, I would even blame Peter Obi more for it than Atiku Abubakar, Bad as a former vice president, Abubakar's politics has boomed, and it has boomed very, very bad. These people really played very, very bad politics. There is nothing, we before the elections, we were a ruling party. Now we are a ruling party. So we went into the election as the ruling party. And these people succeeded in getting into cahoots with members of our own party, of our own government, to undermine our candidates, with all kinds of shenanigans, subterfuges, naira redesign, fuel scarcity, and so on and so forth. You would be dumbfounded at the sort of things these people did. Yet, of all the excesses, there is none like the deceit, I'm sorry to say, on the part of Peter Obi. Just leading with respect. I love these people, they are my countrymen. But the gullibility and his preparedness to take advantage of that gullibility, to keep leading them on, because that is what all this idea of appealing to the Supreme Court is all about. Let's continue this, what is basically, I would say, is playing on the psychology of people, whipping up, unfortunately, tribal sentiments, religious sentiments, and deluding people that you can ride on the back of something so dishonorable to the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So anybody who wants to go on appeal, my own take, I've heard some people say they should not bother to go on appeal. Frankly, I think I would actually prefer them to go on appeal. And then we hear what the Supreme Court has to say, because it cannot be different from what the Court of Appeal said. In fact, it will be worse.
And what many people would have been surprised about, and that is non-learned people, as you lawyers refer to the rest of us, is that you've just said that the Court of Appeal relied largely on precedent, matters that were already established. And again, following from what you are saying, since there were very few rookie lawyers, if any at all, in there, the kind of positions that were taken that they needed the Court of Appeal to now tear apart. You know, this whole matter about the indispensability of 25% in the Federal Capital Territory and all of those kind of things that were thrown out. But let me bring in, they didn't concern themselves very much with proving how they had actually won, but they concerned themselves more, it seemed to a lot of us, with how we have to get this guy, get Tinubu, never mind, you know, how I am. That seemed to be the impression people had. Yeah.
And the reason for that, Yori, is because they know Tinubu defeated them. They did not win. They did not win the election. Now, how do every lawyer, even a lawyer that is a youth copper, has a very, very clear idea of how you win an election petition. If Yori Folari says Jesutega Onokpasa rigged in, that is not the duly elected, duly returned candidate, well, it is now up to Yori Folari to prove where I rigged in. Oh, Yori Folari, I got X number of votes, not Y number of votes that were credited to me. And that Y number of votes that were credited to Barrister Onokpasa, they actually belong to me. That is how we prove who won or lost an election. These people did not bother. They didn't bother. They started bringing up...
I beg your pardon, Mr. Onokpasa. Let me bring in Benga, who has been waiting for a while. Good morning, Benga. Thank you very much for holding on.
Sayori, good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Yori, I was an adult in 1983. Up to now, I've not seen any judgment that was clear, distinct, dissected like this judgment. These judges spent time to prove that even though eyes were on them, they were not intimidated. Even though the social media were bullying them and insulting them, they were not intimidated with the blackmail. And let me tell you, Mr. Yori, this judgment is a classic that people need to make research upon, because I, as a layman and engineer, I was made to know this is gritty. Every detail was ironed out from even the paper they present. They got all the things they presented, how they were disqualified, how they did not file oath on statement with the statement of their witnesses, and how they disqualified it. The one thing that gladdens my heart is that they should go to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court can now become a law on FCT. I came to FCT for the first time in 1983. I did not see anybody having two heads in FCT that make it to have a veto court, a superior vote to all other states. I've been here. The only thing we see in FCT that was different is that we saw their women carrying their load on their shoulder instead of on their head. And now they have stopped because the legislation have taken that over. Apart from that, nothing in FCT. You see the IGR, you see the population that make us veto vote, like we don't 45% in FCT, that's why a president. The judge said it's a fallacious. I mean, that was fallacious. If you look at the statement, no, I wouldn't expect someone to go and present that to the judge. The secondly, Mr. Yori, they're talking of IREF. IREF is a real point for the public, not collation center. And none of them came to the court to say those millions were lost because they could not transmit real time to IREF. Natasha in Okogo State won his tribunal because she brought all the resources to the tribunal. And they calculated that, look, he was not given the right vote. By calculation, they saw the result. This would not be any...
Benga, I apologize. Thank you very much, Benga. In fact, there's so many of them. As you said, it was so very clear, Mr. Onokpasa, it was so very clear that even unlearned people were able to follow. You know, as you said,
quite easily.
You wish whoever wants to go to the court, the Supreme Court, wish them all the luck, as you've just said.
I'm not interested in begging anybody. Let them go.
But I want to thank you very much, Jesutega Onokpasa, lawyer and member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you very much for coming on and giving us, you know, the benefit of your
Thanks for having me.